Okay. So for the next 50 minutes to an hour, and they'll be setting up lunch in the back, we will be presenting, have a series of presenters on our Spark sessions. And what these are is a series of mini TED Talks. And they're presented by faculty at Stony Brook University who have won Talent Grant Awards, which are our teaching and learning with new and emerging technologies, and the SUNY Innovative Instruction with Technology grants. And these folks have put together a brief overview of their project, the research that they're doing, and how they're using it in their classrooms. So our first presenter is Dr. Tiso.
Not a doctor.
Professor Tiso, and she is in the physical therapy and sociology departments. And she's going to be presenting on an ETEXT project that she created.
When I put this together, this all began with the ETEXT book being available through Talent or through TLT, and it's the same textbook I've been using in my undergraduate introduction sociology of sport course for the last 5-6 years. So it was my opportunity to get a free textbook for the students and then be able to order another one that I always wanted to use in addition and not having to spend a lot of money. So I don't know if, I didn't tell them that was the reason why we did it. But we now had more reading material for the course. But it was really an opportunity for me to also, I love the textbook, it's in its 10th edition, it's been around for a while, and I like the idea that it is available. I also teach at graduate level through School of Professional Development, Sociology of Sport. We don't use this textbook. I thought about doing it, but it's more of a basic book, so I didn't use it for that course. But it's something I was considering. So I do have a lot of material, and it was a way for me to incorporate this material in one place. I love online, I love the interaction, using the resources that are available. There are a lot of resources available. So this is the textbook, Sports and Society, and this is from course load, and Jennifer Adams, is Jennifer here? Jennifer was very helpful in spearheading this project and making sure that we were able to use this. As I always tell my students, I am no expert, but if I know more than you, then you're in trouble, and it really surprises me when I know more than my students about online technology. And I am no expert, but the most important thing for anyone is to just go in and do it and not be afraid. And I think that's been very helpful for me, and also having a great support system like we do here at Stony Brook. I'm not even sure if I can do this, but we'll see. And another thing that I think is very important for someone like me is that I have a textbook in printed form. So I always give that advice out, that if you're going to do this for the first time, I mean, I've used this book for years, so I know it, but especially if it's a great first time for you, to see if you can also get a paper copy, depending on the topic, from your publisher, which they really have no problems doing for the most part. Spell my name wrong. A lot of people can do computers better than me. They can spell their name right. Okay. And so the book is very easy through Blackboard at Stony Brook, where we have, if you get on this line, if not, it's okay. Where we have the course load is right on the left-hand column of Blackboard, and so when you go in, it says ETEXT, and the students can just click on that, and it comes right up. Okay, and that's how we were able to access that. And the page numbers are exactly the same as the book, the actual printed book, so that was very helpful for us. And what I really like about it is that the students can put on notes as we go through this, as well as the instructor. And so it was the first year we did this. I really wasn't sure exactly how to do this, because I knew that some of the students had the written book, the actual textbook, and were using that, so I didn't require them to use the ETEXT. But I did tell them that they would get a little extra credit if they did go in and do some notes and answer my questions. And I put all of my questions in there for the tests and for the quizzes, which I've had. And so I would label those. There were different colors you could use, and I would use red, usually for me, and I would go in there and say, what is the deviant over conformity? I don't have to do it online. I can just go on and do my actual slides.
We can wait for this.
I just close out of this. Oh, there you go. And so I took this right from the page of my notes. These are my notes that I put on the page in chapter 6, deviant over conformity in sport. And of course, because of this Rutgers University incident that just happened, which I like to do in my classes, I used a modern day, an up-to-date incident. And so I would give the overview, and this is, once again, what I put right into the textbook, these notes. What is deviant over conformity? Define homophobia, misogyny, and hypermasculinity. Explain the Rutgers incident in terms of the sociological concept, deviant over conformity. And from your group, and also the other thing that I do in my classes is I have groups. I have about 45 in this class. I have groups between 8 and 12, just pretty much alphabetical, and they have to answer at least one question a week in terms of their group. Sometimes I put it right on a discussion board, and sometimes they have to actually write it out and send it back into assignment manager. Or you can do it right on the textbook itself, which I didn't do this year because not everybody had the ETEXT. And this is what they had to respond from their group. Okay, and then the tags, deviant over conformity, Rutgers basketball coach writes, homophobia, and misogyny. And the tags come up, I can set those up throughout the entire course. And so anytime there's a topic that, say, for instance, I wanted to go back to that theory, deviant over conformity, we have about 5 to 6 basic theory concepts that we use throughout the semester. I will tag deviant over conformity. They can then go back and find that when they're getting ready for a test or studying or writing up a report or whatever. And this is a learning curve for some of these students, which I was not aware of in terms, because I think they all know a whole lot more than I do. When I say, look up the tag deviant over conformity, what pages is it on? Just something as basic as that, to make them go through the pages and write down the page numbers. And so even if somebody had the written textbook, there's the page numbers, and that's posted on Blackboard, excuse me, and they can find that. They can do this within their groups, and I can add to that or subtract that. But I try to stay out of that part of it so that they're doing some of that work. Okay, I put up the tags, and then they will go and find that. Okay, and what I like is sometimes they'll say, oh, this isn't tagged deviant over conformity in chapter 10 on blah blah. Would that be considered deviant over conformity? And yes, teachable moment. What do you think? Group A thinks this might be deviant over conformity. Give me an example of what that, how you would explain it in terms of deviant over conformity. Okay? And that's how I like this interactive part of it. But it's really important to also be organized in terms of listing. I'm very big on listing terms, on listing questions. Okay? I don't always put the answers, but I want the questions and the terms up there, the page numbers. Anything I do online, page numbers are important. And so that way they have this reference and they can go back to that to answer questions, to be preparing for a test or to prepare just for the class topics. And I'll just do one more. This was the actual Rutgers basketball coach Rice, and this is the ESPN link, as well as Outside the Lines, which was the whole presentation on this. And of course, I'm the kind of person that will read, every single thing that was ever written about it, and then try to come up with something for them. And I want them to look and say, I found this, and I'll even use this as a teachable moment in terms of, is this something that we need, that we should be using as a reference for this class? In other words, it might be something that we shouldn't be using. And I don't have any problem with the students doing that, putting up something that's really out there. And then, a lot of times I'm, wow, where did they get that? But the idea that we then, yes, we use it to talk about it. Because they're going to get it anyway. They're going to look that stuff up anyway and try to use it as a reference. And I'll say, I don't think this, what do you think? Do you think this is something that we would use in a class like this? And the other question I ask all the time is, would you present, because I teach teachers, Would you present this to high school students? Would you present this to middle school? Would you talk to your parents about this? Those are my basic questions that I ask. Think about those answers. Where is it appropriate? Where is it inappropriate? Okay, so that we can focus in on what we're really trying to get to. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I don't think it was Ted, but